Red-eyed conqueror, crush you to steal under a blood-red moon. Destiny calls to rule the robot world. My evil's echo terror skies split in two. When you can gather power in your grasp, built to productive resistance or might. Through the scrap metal wasteland, fate charge to wage war under the mechanical for light. The ring engines gather power in their grasp, built in the crash and resist the might. Through the scrap metal wasteland, fate charge to wage war under the mechanical twilight. North Brachio soul rise up strong, when you to 10th level war machine song. Crushing Mandalore and the Blue Guardians. Rule the future, Iron Fist prolonged. Roaring gears clash bolts and burning wires. Battlers dance from the vibrate hearts. Monster rage electric fire in his eyes. Spell beast clutching tearing worlds apart. In the heart of the battle, sparks fly cold and wild. Power surges through circuits. No retreat, only defile. Works of Brachio the rise up strong. Red meet the death of washing song. Crushing Mandalore and the Blue Guardians. Rule the future, Iron Fist prolonged. Whirring gears clash, bolts and burning wires. Backward stands firm, defiant, brave hearts. Lost red, raging electric, logic fires. Rule the future, Iron Fist prolonged. So rise up strong. Red means defend the